and the truth speakers. And I'm going to tell you, God's called you to be both. God's called us to be both. The truth seekers and the truth speakers. Let's see if this bad boy works. So, opening line is welcome to the Great Awakening. Alright? Welcome to the Great Awakening. The Bible is promised, history has told us that over time there have been these great awakenings that have happened where people come to God. Right? Where the Spirit of God rose up, where God's Spirit came down, and whole communities were changed. Whole nations were changed. There are times when the Spirit came down, and absolutely what happened was this. Death stopped in its tracks. Evil stopped in its tracks. The truth was exposed. The darkness was exposed. And God's Spirit did it. Not a man. Not a woman. But all it requires is the truth seekers to have seek the truth, know the truth, and when the truth speaks, you see it. But you know what? So many of us don't see it. And a lot of us know the truth, but we don't speak it. We're ashamed. We're in fear. It's not a personality. That ain't the way you do business. But welcome to the Great Awakening. There's an awakening that's happening. And I don't know if it's an awakening, more of a reckoning that is taking place, and it's taking place in the world, it's taking place in the nation, it's taking place in the church, and it's taking place right here in this church. And the Bible's kind of real clear. Who do you choose this day? Who you will serve? Our nation is split in half right now. Not even in half. There's a small portion that is split in half, and they're the voice. With Judge Kavanaugh's confirmation vote yesterday, it has set off a chain of events that cannot be stopped and will not be stopped because it is prophecy. And it's going to impact the world, this nation. And this great awakening, so this pastor here, Mark Taylor, and he's one of the guys that, for those of you who are deep into prophecy, yeah, thank you. This is his mirror image. Okay? Says we are about to witness something never seen in history. Those who have gone before us will not get to see. We are the chosen ones, the army of God, to seek justice, rescue the spiritually oppressed, and take back this earth for our Lord. The Luciferian reign is over.
That's right.
Outside the church and inside the church.
That's right.
Now, it might not be devil worship inside the church, but who has influence over that pastor? Who has influence over the church leadership? Who has influence over the heart and minds of the people? A lot of times that's not God. I've told you, everybody in history, except for the day that Jesus came and died, and the day he set foot back on this earth, everybody throughout history was going to be right here where we are. Because we are ushering in the end times. We are ushering in it. It will happen before most of us die. And what's happening in our country, what happened in our world, there was a group that took over this country, they took over this world, and it looked like the end times, the one world government. It looked like Christianity was pushed away, but God rose up and said, not yet. Not yet. Because when it happens, then it's going to be supernatural. It won't be just a bunch of people who are angry and evil, who are oppressed by spirits. It will be the spirit of the Antichrist. But God's given us that moment in time for that awakening to happen, for people to come back to God. And I'm telling you, there's hundreds of thousands have already come to Jesus that nobody knows what's happening out there. If you're connected where I'm connected, you see what I see. And I pulled down into the computer over and look, I was an atheist. I did not believe. I was anti-government. I was anti-God. I was but I have seen the evil now. And they've come to Jesus, hundreds of thousands, not because we preached a sermon to them, because you know what? Jesus really don't need us. But they saw the devil's real. They saw the evil that's got control of this world is real. They've seen what you ain't seen yet. And you know what they do? They fall on their knees. Without a sermon, without a song. That's the Great Awakening. When God absolutely exposes the corruption, the darkness, and the evil that is in this world. Now, there was a day that Jesus walked into the church. He'd been to church many times. He'd seen this church many times. All right? And he walked in, and he'd had enough. He walked in, he flipped those freaking tables. And he got in their freaking face. You have made my house a den of thieves. You are manipulating my people. You are deceiving my people. You are oppressing my people. And by that way, the people were also a nation. Not necessarily a church, but a nation. And God says, I'm done with you oppressing my people. I am done with you oppressing my people. And he flipped the tables. Now, what was that all about? What was that all about? Jesus is basically put on the gauntlet. And that's what he's doing in our country. There's people in this country that are about to go to jail and be put, that will face death. The corruption in the church is going to get exposed to. I mean corruption that you've never even dreamed about. What happened that day when Jesus drew a line in the sand, he took back the church, that the system, that those who didn't have the heart of God, those with dark hearts, that they had grabbed God's power. They should have honored God's power, but they misused it. They abused it. And Jesus said, no more. And not only flipped their table, he actually chased them out with a whip. He's doing this in our country. He's going to do this in the church. This is where we're at. The first part of this Great Awakening I talked about was November 2016 when Trump was put into office. And it was a pathetic thing. I preached on that for 4 years before he even thought he was running. When did you move into your house? The house, the pastor's house, your friends? What year and month did you move in there?
Well, I don't know.
You got to figure this out. You got to go back and figure it out because a year before that, I was already saying this was going to happen in our country.
It was May.
Was it?
May.
Yeah, I know it was May. We had a party at your house right there. We'll go back. See, Jesus was taking back something that day. Jesus was taking something back in November 2016. Jesus was taking back something when Trump made Jerusalem the capital of Israel. When he moved there, he took back something. Because God is restoring something. Okay? He's restoring something in his country, and he took back the Supreme Court from those who were, you know what they were doing. If you don't, you're going to figure that out. Be corrupt. Have an evil heart. Have an evil intention. One day, you're going to face the fire. Because one day, somebody's going to call down fire. Just like Elijah stood in front of it, in front of her, in front of them. He stood alone. He spoke the truth. He stood for the truth, and truth came. So the question I got is, where are the truth seekers and the truth speakers? The funny thing about truth is this. The truth is like a lion. You don't have to defend it. Let it loose, and it will defend itself. So true. Some of you have found yourself in situations where you couldn't defend yourself. Thank you, Anna, for sharing things with me this week. Does it really matter? Hey, sometimes you've got to be quiet. Hey, sometimes Jesus let them just absolutely ride him, manipulate him, destroy him. There's times he spoke. Because the truth will speak for itself. Let me ask you a question. Why did Jesus ask this question? Marianne, read this for me. Why did Jesus ask this question? Two slides.
Why do the nations conspire or rage, and the peoples plot in vain?
The kings of the earth rise up, and the rulers band together against the Lord and against his anointed, saying, let us break their chains and throw off their shackles.
Yep.
The one enthroned in heaven laughs. The Lord scoffs at them. He rebukes them in his anger and terrifies them in his wrath, saying, I have installed my king on Zion, my holy mountain.
What do these people think? Do you think God's justice is not going to come one day? How does every free nation in the world in a 4-year period end up with a communist socialist leader, including the Pope? You think that's by God's hand to oppress the people? What it's saying is, how dare you defy the will and the choice of the living God? And what he's saying is, why do the nations rage? Why do they conspire? Why do the people plot in vain? What is God talking about? Corruption, darkness, and evil. Do we really believe God's just going to let it happen year after year, century after century? One day, God's justice comes. One day, the truth is coming, and that day is here. Our nation is going to learn that God is real. The church is going to learn that God is real. Now, what was Jesus thinking here? Why did he tell this story? Sean.
Revelations 3:14-22. To the church of Laodicea, end times church, I know your deeds. I'm about to spit you out of my mouth. You say, I'm rich, I've acquired wealth, and do not need a thing. But you do not realize that you are wretched, pitiful, poor, blind, and naked.
Why did Jesus tell this story, and why do I keep going back to it? Because this is the world we live in. Now, the church of today, what Jesus said to the church of today, to those in power today, to those who've taken control today, the Christians today, Jesus said, we are so self-absorbed. We think this little platform is all about you, Jeff. All about you. The Spirit of God was not there in those churches. They were in control. You know? And you know what? They wouldn't have it any other way. Oh, it looks like the Spirit. It feels like the Spirit. And we lays our hands like the Spirit. But the Spirit of God says, I am not there. And they wouldn't have it any other way. Because if the Spirit of God comes, then you don't have control. And you've got to sit down and somebody else will be singing. Somebody else will be preaching. Somebody else will lead somebody to Christ. But no! It's got to be our show, our program about us. These people are so proud of themselves. Their arrogance is absolutely unholy. Their arrogance is blasphemy before God. Their faith is not a godly faith. It's just a form of godliness. He's talking about us, the church today. I mean, he's not talking about each individual person, each individual church, but he's talking about that spirit that is on the church. That spirit that is on the land. That spirit that if you can't tell the difference, you think it's the Spirit of God. It's you, baby. There's a reason I try not to get too emotional and make people jump up and down because of my way of speaking, because I can do that. I don't know if that's real or not. But I know if you hear something and you move in that innocence of it, you are the Spirit of God. If I have to manipulate you, I'm so wrong. Why did Jesus tell this story? Jeff, can you read this for me? You see it?
Yeah.
All right, Matthew 7:21-23.
Not everyone who says to me, Lord, Lord, will enter the kingdom of heaven, but anyone who does will of my Father who is in heaven. Many will say to me on that day, Lord, Lord, did we not prophesy in your name, and in your name drive out demons, and in your name perform many miracles? And I'll say to them plainly, I never knew you. Away from me, you evildoers.
See, these are the same people that Jesus talked about in Revelation 3. They're trying to settle them back. Oh, look at our church service. Oh, look at our people. Look at our program. Look. They did all these Christian things. And they feel good about them. They feel so good about what they've done for Jesus that they stood before Jesus. Yeah, I'm in. I don't know you. How can you do all the right things for Jesus? It's so easy to do the Christian thing. It's so easy to do it, especially if you feel it. But do you have that intimacy, that absolute intimacy with the Son? I'm not trying to make you question your faith. I'm not even trying to make us doubt our faith. I don't want to shake anybody here. In fact, I want to do the opposite. But here's the deal. If I don't speak it, and you stand before the Lord one day, and you go, Jeff, why didn't you tell me? Jeff, why didn't you reach out to me? Why didn't you show me? See, what you do with what I speak, what God gives me, is between me and you. It's between you and Him. I just know I've got to come in here and speak what He gives me, regardless of what people think, regardless of who gets mad. And I'm not the one to do that, because I was a kid that wouldn't want it. I was a kid that wasn't loved. I was a kid that was thrown away. I was the one, you know when you're not loved, and you know you spend your whole lifetime trying to get approval, trying to get acceptance, trying to be loved. And for me to get here and do this, somebody recently says, well, Jim, you ain't healed. You know, I can sit here and whatever I say, I know I'm loved. Because if I was who I was accused of being, I couldn't do it. I tell you what you want to hear. Because I want you to come up and hug me. And love me. This passage here was Jesus sending a symbolic shot over the bow of Christianity. Speaking about today. Speaking to the audience of today. Ted Turner said this, and I've used this before, when he did the merger with Time Warner back in, I don't know, the 90s. He said, so he asked him about it, man, how much money did you make? And he said this is word for word, it's not about the money anymore, it's about power. Who you own and who you control. That is the spirit of the Antichrist. The God's justice is here. The Great Awakening is happening. It's going to happen in the flesh, in the spirit, in the world, in the church. It's a revolution. It's God's revolution. And when I come up with the name of this church, when I come up with the vision statement, this is the funny thing is, God gave me the name. God gave me the vision. He spent His whole life putting things into me, shaking things into me to build this. And by God, I ain't changing it. I'll fight you tooth and nail when the time comes. But I don't have to. Because it's God's justice. It's God's justice. It's God that's going to prevail. Now this Great Awakening, Great Awakenings have three parts. I don't know if y'all know this, but I'm going to teach you something this morning. All right, Great Awakenings have three parts: a revelation, an illumination, and a separation. And seriously, somebody want to write this down. A revelation, 1 Corinthians 4:5. Therefore, judge nothing before the appointed time. Wait until the Lord comes. He will bring to light what is hidden in the darkness, and He will expose the motives of the heart. If you wait, God will expose the truth. You just got to sit quiet. That's a revolution. See, God will give a revelation. God, what am I facing with this? Am I facing just a misunderstanding? Am I facing my own pride? Am I facing the enemy? You kind of don't know. You're going to jump to a conclusion, but you wait for the Lord to speak. Then you're not wrong. Should you leave a job? You wait till the Lord speaks. Should you marry that person? You wait till the Lord speaks. Should you do this? You wait till the Lord speaks. But when He speaks, a revelation. Second part I said was an illumination. Centera, would you? All right, Ephesians 5:8-13.
For you were once darkness, but now you are light in the Lord. Live as children of light, for the fruit of the light consists in all goodness, righteousness, and truth. And find out what pleases the Lord. Have nothing to do with the fruitless deeds of darkness, but rather expose them. It is shameful even to mention what the disobedient do in secret. But everything exposed by the light becomes visible, and everything that is illuminated becomes a light. This is why it is said, wake up, sleeper, rise from the dead, and Christ will shine on you.
You know, the movie, and this went off my notes, and I don't want to do that because this is long enough. The movie, what's that called where the guy goes into the computers or whatever?
Transcendent.
No, not that one. Matrix. You know, there's the blue pill and then the red pill. And one pill opens your mind and you see the truth, and the other, right? That's the illumination. You ever had one of those times where you thought you knew, and then the light comes on?
Yes.
You see the truth? That's the illumination. But the thing is, when the illumination happens, when God reveals the truth, when God shines a light, that's your key. Get off your butt, join the fight, get involved, change, make a difference, respond to the Word of God. It says, wake up, sleeper, rise from the dead, and Christ will shine on you. There's a revelation, there's an illumination, and then I said there's a what? A separation. What am I freaking talking about? Because when those first two things happen, people got to make a choice. Now, God wouldn't separate, would He? God wouldn't divide that. God is love. God is love. He just loves you. I only preach love. I don't preach truth. I don't know how that works. Separation. God separated Genesis 1:4. God saw the light was good, and He separated the light from the darkness. Jesus separated Matthew 10:34. Do not suppose that I've come to bring peace to the earth. I did not come to bring peace, but a sword. For I have come to turn a man's against his father, a daughter against her mother, a daughter against her mother-in-law. A man's enemies will be the members of his own household. Why? We've talked about this. We've preached on this because this is where God's taken us. Because now you got to make a choice. When God has revealed, when God has illuminated, now you got a choice to make. Every single one of us. That's how Great Awakenings happen. Because some people are going to make a choice for God. Some people are going to see it, and others won't. Some people don't think you're crazy. And you can't tell them otherwise. Because you know where the revelation comes from? The Holy Spirit. You know where the illumination comes from? The Holy Spirit. You know where the separation comes? You making a choice. I am making a choice. Deep stuff. Deep stuff. In our nation, you hadn't noticed, if you don't feel it, don't see it, there's been a revelation. There's been an illumination, and there is a separation taking place. And it's happening in the church. Some are changing the doctrine, changing the word, living for something else. There's the largest national group. What do they call it, David? Some other churches, like a confederation of churches, and they're the largest group. Presbyterians, Baptists, Methodists. And all over the place. Mainly more the main line, more like Episcopalian, Lutheran. Mainly more of them than the. They rose up against Judge Kavanaugh. He needed to stand down. They were praying against him. Like I said, what's the revelation here? Hello. What's the illumination here? You ain't following the same God out in the Bible I'm reading. And what's the separation? I will not stand with you. I will not stand with you. There is a huge move. Now I'm going to get a little bit deeper. There is a huge move to discredit, listen to me, to discredit those who stand for the truth. Those who speak the truth. Those who are God's anointed. What am I talking about God's anointed in our nation? Romans 13:1-2. Let everyone be subject to the government authorities, for there is no authority except that which God has established. The authorities that exist have been established by God. Consequently, whoever rebels against authority is rebelling against God and what God has instituted. And those who do so will bring judgment upon themselves. Why against God right now? Y'all ain't ready for what's about to happen. Don't fear, God's got it, because it is God. The corruption will get exposed. The people you voted for, the people you trusted, the people you believed in, maybe a pastor, it could be me, maybe I'm one of them too. Pedophiles, child sacrifices, you name it. But that huge move to discredit those who stand for the truth, I have not known Trump to stand for anything but the truth. I have not known Judge Kavanaugh to be anything but who he says he is. And this is what I know. They are God's anointed for the day in which we... And if you don't discern that, you need to pray and ask God, what is the discernment? But they stood against that. This accusing spirit, they accused Trump of what? Everything. What do they trust Judge Kavanaugh of? Everything. This is a spirit. This is a spirit. I did one of my last lessons, it's been over a month ago. One of my last lessons was the three things when you know you're under spiritual attack: condemnation, manipulation. You can just go on and on. I mean, and the other one, about 2 weeks before that, was the things that needed. If you might need deliverance, if these are you, they have every one of them. The stuff that stood against Trump, it is standing against Trump, and it's standing against Judge, and they will stand. You lucky it ain't you and I standing before them. It is an accusing spirit. You understand what I'm telling you? Now, the accuser, the accusing spirit, is the spirit of Jezebel. Manipulation, deception, taking the authority of the man of God who God put on that throne in Washington, D.C., who put that guy on the throne in that, Align yourselves with these people that are opposing God. God says you can't be my children and yet be friends with the world. Make alliances as the friends with the world. You will become my enemy. Now the accuser, there's something in the accuser that's not right. Okay, you get it? Sometimes the accuser has been through a lot of mental problems, emotional problems, and they're dysfunctional, they're broken. But when they strike out the way they do, and when they're used by other people, there's the enemy for you. The spirit of Ahab. They can't take down Kavanaugh alone. They got to give you a false narrative. You got to have a lot of little Ahabs running around to support your lie, to protect your lie, to carry out your things. And you know, a lot of these Ahabs are so dumb, they don't even know they're Ahabs. They don't even know they're fooled. They don't know they're even working for the Lord. I mean, for the devil. And they're opposing the Lord. And that's an interest this morning. But most of the Ahabs know exactly what they're doing. Because they're afraid of Jezebel. Spirit of Leviathan, we talked about that in the past. And it's just a spirit. Is it a true spirit? Well, when it plays out in somebody's life, and there's deceiving, there's twisting of words, there's twisting of hearts, you're turning people against one another. Oh my goodness, hallelujah. You, my child, have an accusing spirit. You are have the wrong spirit. That is not of God. Did I go the wrong way? What are you pointing at? The wolf. The other one is the spirit of the wolf. Who's the wolf? Jesus warned us over and over about the false prophets. He warned us over and over about the false teachers. He warned us over and over about the one who's going to come into the church and going to look like the real thing, but they devour the wolves. Boy, that's happening in our nation. Boy, it's happening in our churches. Why does the devil take this approach? He knows as good as anybody how you destroy something from the inside out, not the outside in.
Start with the family and work your way out.
Oh yeah. So he looks for a weakness. He looks for somebody broken or hurting or confused or I don't know. The accusing spirit, like with Trump, like with Kavanaugh, attempts to destroy the man of God. Attempts to remove the man of God, the anointed. Stands in defiance of God's authority. It is a power grab. They want the glory. They want control. It is an attempt to silence the truth. They don't want the true truth out there. Because you get the true truth out there, they have to face the truth. They'll be subject to the truth. The truth speaker has to be shut down. They attempt to silence those who speak the truth. And they attempt to deceive the people. Who are the sheep? Going to the slaughter. What am I talking about here? This is, make sure that's turned up good. This is from Judge Kavanaugh's thing. Some of you might have seen this. You want to see, what's this? This is our Senator, Lindsey Graham. He finally found himself.
Are you aware that at 9:23, on the night of July the 9th, the day you were nominated to the Supreme Court by President Trump, Senator Schumer said, 23 minutes after your nomination, I will oppose Judge Kavanaugh's nomination with everything I have. I have a bipartisan, and I hope a bipartisan majority will do the same. The stakes are simply too high for anything less. Well, if you weren't aware of it, you are now. Did you meet with Senator Dianne Feinstein on August 20th?
I did meet with Senator Feinstein.
Did you know that her staff had already recommended a lawyer to Dr. Ford?
I did not know that.
Did you know that her and her staff had this allegations for over 20 days?
I did not know that at the time.
If you wanted an FBI investigation, you could have come to us. What you want to do is destroy this guy's life, hold this seat open, and hope you win in 2020. You said that, not me. You've got nothing to apologize for. When you see Sotomayor and Kagan, tell them that Lindsey said all of them, because I voted for them. I would never do to them what you've done to this guy. This is the most unethical sham since I've been in politics. And if you really wanted to know the truth, you sure as hell wouldn't have done what you've done to this guy. Are you a gang rapist?
No.
I cannot imagine what you and your family have gone through. Boy, y'all want power. God, I hope you never get it.
Amen.
I hope the American people can see through this shit.
Yes!
That you knew about it and you held it. You had no intention of protecting Dr. Ford. None. She's as much of a victim as you are. God, I hate to say it because these have been my friends. But let me tell you, when it comes to this, you're looking for a fair process, you came to the wrong town at the wrong time, my friend. Do you consider this a job interview?
The advice and consent role is like a
Do
job.
you consider that you've been through a job interview?
I've been through a process of advice and consent under the Constitution. Which
Would you say you've been through hell?
Yeah.
I've been through hell and then some.
Yeah.
This is not a job interview. This is hell.
This
This is going to destroy the ability of good people to come forward because of this crap.
Yeah.
Your high school yearbook. You have interacted with professional women all your life, not one accusation.
Not
You're
one.
supposed to be Bill Cosby when you're a junior and senior in high school. And all of a sudden you got over it. It's been my understanding that if you drug women and raped them for 2 years in high school, you probably don't stop. Here's my understanding. If you lived a good life, people would recognize it.
Yep.
Like the American Bar Association has the gold standard. His integrity is absolutely unquestioned. He is the very circumspect in his personal conduct, harbors no biases or prejudices. He's entirely ethical, is a really decent person. He is warm, friendly, unassuming. He's the nicest person. Yeah. One thing I can tell you, you should be proud of. Ashley, you should be proud of this. That you raised a daughter who had the good character to pray for Dr. Ford. To my Republican colleagues, if you vote no, You're legitimizing the most despicable thing I have seen in my time in politics. You want this seat? I hope you never get it. I hope you're on the Supreme Court. That's exactly where you should be. And I hope that the American people will see through this charade. And I wish you well. And I intend to vote for you. And I hope everybody who's fair-minded will.
The world scene is happening on the local scene, and it's happening right here in our lives. And it's happening in lots of our churches around this country. Lindsey Graham. Uh-oh. Well, it says here, why did the people, Forrest, go to that word. Go one up far. Why did the people plot in vain? Why did the nations rage? God's justice is going to come. And it is coming to our nation. See, everything that in America that has the rebellion, the resistance, the destroying this good man's name, let me tell you, it's more than darkness and it's more than evil. It's demonic. It's demonic. Okay? Right? But God is exposing the evil. Wait till it all plays out. God is exposing the darkness. He is exposing the deceptive motives. He is going to expose that spirit of Jezebel. God is tearing down the corruption in these forces and these spirits. All right? Including those that are under the power and control that are inside, the demonic forces that are inside the church. It's going to happen. And it is happening. What you're about to witness is the greatest story ever told, like I said, except when Jesus came and when Jesus comes back. Everybody wants to be here. Now, what things are going to change? And I'm just going to hit a couple of 9/11 is only going to change. The narrative you know is going to change. All right? The narrative of JFK is going to change. It's all deception. There's a lot of lying. When we learn who the Luciferians are because it is hidden, when we learn what they have done, %60 of it will never make it out because they have to protect the general public because we can't handle it. In the 6 to 9 months where I was working for them in 2016 with this group that has been collecting this data for all these years, when you've seen, another day about a month ago, I was still doing my thing with them, and Dana come in to eat breakfast, and I had to turn the computer because she couldn't see what I saw. When we learned that by 2020 there was a plan to put off Christian, that martial law would be imposed, and it was true, all these little conspiracy theories that martial law would be imposed, that America would be at its knees, that Christians would be FEMA camps, and you would profess whether you were Christ or not, and these camps would be re-education camps. If you refuse to be re-educated, you would be eliminated. Oh, that sounds like a movie. That sounds like just watch. Just watch. 1.6 million pastors, like I mentioned, 1.6 million pastors, church leadership, denominational leadership, signed a non-disclosure agreement with the government. All right? You know what this non-disclosure agreement is? Go look it up. To keep them from having to face that, to get them to work with the government. This has been through the last part of Bush, through Obama. 1.6 million pastors have agreed with the government to get their church people to report themselves in, to turn over their guns. And some of you already know, the news has covered it. Everybody thought, oh, this is nothing. Go read the outline. Go read the material. Now, they ain't telling you who's on that list, who are the 1.6 million pastors in America. But they're on it. And they're getting tax breaks. They're getting payments. They're getting positions. You know this happened in the Bible? You know this guy called Judas? For a kickback, for a benefit, he sold Jesus out for 30 pieces of silver, right? When the church learns their pastor, their district superintendent are on these things, you know how many people's faith are going to be destroyed? That they would turn you over to the government. Oh, Jeff, this sounds like a movie. You let me know if it doesn't come true by December. They were nine solid child trafficking rings around the world through governments, our government, led by our politicians, led by religious leaders. They have the goods. 55,000 as of the end of August. Not even counting what's 55,000 sealed indictments. They've been investigated for a long time. They just didn't know it. People are going to die for what they've done to children. Like I said, I'm only going to touch on just a little bit of this. You will find out this month that the military tribunals that people have rumored about are going to happen, are happening in Gitmo. If you watch Lindsey Graham's questioning one-on-one with Judge Kavanaugh, he talked about civil law and military law, and what happens under the military justice system. That was a signal, that was a shockwave sent around the deep state, the corruption, because something's in place. Two things are in place. In 2001, 9/11, President Trump put in, we're in a state of war with terrorism. We are under a state of war. The other thing was last December, Trump put us under a state of emergency. He froze the assets of so many people, and it will make your head spin. Corruption, child trafficking, child sacrifice, fill in the blank. So is this Trump doing this? No, you're going to see martial law in parts of our country, not all over the country, but you're going to see it in certain areas because of the paid protesters. It's just so funny how the protesters weren't real, they were paid. Where am I going with this? That God's judgment is now. Now, why were the nations raging? Why were the people raging? Why were the one side of the street raging? Because they know they're going to jail. They know they're going to die, and you don't know it yet, but they know it. Why were 100 of our politicians not running for re-election? They got the goods, and they've been forced out. You're going to see. But this is not a government war. This is not a political war. This is a spiritual war. It's a spiritual war, okay? This accusation spirit I'm talking about, why did they go after Kavanaugh like that? Because they had to stop him, because once he's on the seat, they have nobody to defend them. They have no Ahab to protect them. They are at the mercy of the system, the rule of law, the law of God, and God's wrath, God's judgment. There's no way Kavanaugh was going to be sent away. They tried. What does the accuser spirit do? Deceive, lie, manipulate, destroy the man. But most of the destruction that's happening in our country isn't done on the TV screen, it's done in private. It's done in private. Because the devil has a sinister plan. What does that sinister plan look like? What is this spirit that we're fighting that we can't see? What is this thing? This is going to get deep. 2 Timothy 3:1-5. Marianne, for me.
But realize this, that in the last days, difficult times will come. For men will be lovers of self, lovers of money, boastful, arrogant, revilers, disobedient to parents, ungrateful, unholy, unloving, irreconcilable, malicious gossips, without self-control, brutal, haters of good, treacherous, reckless, conceited, lovers of pleasure rather than lovers of God, holding to a form of godliness, although they have denied its power. Avoid such men as these.
Man, you've heard this so many times. I've preached on this several times, but here's the deal. I never broke it down. And when I broke it down and got inside of it, oh my goodness, there it is. There it is. There it is. It is the spirit of today. It is the spirit that's in our nation. It is the spirit that's trying to destroy this nation. It is the spirit in the church that is opposing the men of God, the women of God, that is opposing the spirit of God, who thinks it's all about them, who if their true motive was known, it ain't godly. It is a form of godliness, but it ain't God. And this is why God is raising up different churches. This is why God took Christians outside the church and prepared them and shaped them and did things in them, and now their mind is open and they see it. They get it. They realize where they fit in this. So let's look at what this truly means in their terms. Okay, here we go. Lovers of themselves. There's the word. I'm never going to say the Greek word because it says lovers of themselves. Who are the lovers of themselves in this society that was going to hit the end times? Oh yeah, it's the narcissist. It is the spirit of narcissism. It is Jezebel when it plays out in the church realm, but it is not. They love themselves. Now here's the deal. This is actually an oxymoron because they don't really love themselves. They are absolutely inside a narcissist. They don't love themselves. They are fighting for love, looking for love, and they will do anything to have it because they can't. They don't actually love themselves. They're just that freaking broken. They will destroy anything and everybody so they can feel a moment of self-love. Some of you have been there. It's not love at all. What it is fear, insecurity, selfishness, self-centeredness. Now this narcissist, every one of these are a narcissist. They have an unhealthy view of reality, life, relationships. They have an unhealthy view of themselves. They're not in it for God. They're not in it for you, because deep down there is no room for anybody but them. The sad thing is you know how many people want to love them? Want to help them. But they're emotionally sick, which means they're spiritually sick. And the emotional will play out in the spiritual. Lovers of money. Lovers of money. Where are you going there with this one? Covetous is what it means. They want something you have. They just interpret money because people want your money. But maybe it's not money that they want. Maybe this is what the narcissist wants. They want your respect, your honor, your love, because you have the ability to love and be loved. They don't have it. They want your peace. They want your joy. They want your authority. They want your position. They want your marriage. They want your ministry. And they even want your church. And when they want something, when there's something that you have, they can't have. They can't have it. There are no boundaries of what they'll do to get it.
That's right. Yep. That is very true.
The easiest way you do this, you start a false narrative. We're going to see that real soon as we continue. This is what we're facing in this country. They're willing to destroy that man, destroy Trump, because they want what he has. They want his position. It's a power grab. They don't have it, and they're going to do anything to do it, including kill people. There's more than one way to kill a person. The next one was boastful. That's the word there. It means an empty pretender. And I'm like, God, what the heck is an empty pretender? What it means is there is nothing about them that is real. When they smile, Hillary, it ain't real. I'm doing this for you. Oh, really? Well, give me some of that billions of dollars you got in the Clinton Foundation. If you love me and you're in it for me. An empty pretender. What they show you isn't real. Their confidence isn't real. Their peace isn't real. Their love isn't real. Fill in the blank. In public, I got it all together. In private, they are the most emotionally messed up, broken, crying themselves to sleep, can't make their voices quit because it has engulfed them. Empty pretender. Pretend to be something that they're not. Now, everything with this is manipulation. Even the good stuff is manipulation because it's empty. You ever tried to love something that was empty? You can't. When people say you got to love yourself first, it doesn't mean the self-love in the first one. It means real love. That you only find face to face with God. But as long as the Spirit has control, that's control of our nation. But the good thing, God's judgment, God's anointing, God's intervention is here. Arrogant. Oh yeah, I know what arrogant is. Arrogant means arrogant. No, it doesn't. That's the word. It says showing oneself above others, overtopping the speakers above others, preeminent, and overweening estimate of one's meanings and merits. Why do they got to be more than what they really are? Because they're so empty. Despising others and even treating them with contempt. You can do everything right. You can fight. You can empower. You can lay down your life. You can give your firstborn. You can give everything, and they will despise you for it with contempt and attack. That's the Word of God. You just don't know what these words mean until you get deep in it. This is the spirit of the end times that is in our nation, that are in our churches. Haughty, self-conceited, puffed up, superior, snooty, self-important. Revilers. What the heck is a reviler? Speaking. I hide it because it's passive aggressively. But one day you wake up and you find out people are against you. You wonder why. Because the reviler's been active. People who knew you, would give you a heart for them, are now questioning who you are. You've been in ministry long, it'll happen a lot. And the very people that you have loved, cried with, prayed with, are now your enemy because a reviler has put the false narrative in place. They have a hidden motive, a deceptive heart. They're slanderous, they manipulate and deceive. Again, Jezebel. Reproachful, judgmental, fault-finding, accusing, critical. If you come into me, and if God has seen you to me, then you're going to have a certain spirit, and it's going to be the Spirit of God. And that Spirit of God, Jeff, I love you, but I need to talk to you. I'm worried about you. But you come off attacking me immediately, I already know who you are. I already know what you are. And when they attack Trump, they attack Kavanaugh, were they looking out for him, or were they looking out for that group? No. They're both victims. See, the people who believe the lie, the reviler, they're a victim because they believed it. The vision happened. Destruction happened. And who else is the victim? The victim who was attacked. So there's two victims. The ones who listen to the reviler and the one who is the object of the reviler. There's two victims. You ever had somebody turn somebody against you? Oh, it's out of control today. In our country. In this world. They hide behind a barrier of verbal, emotional manipulation. You don't even know when you're hearing the truth. You don't know. In fact, you can't even trust it. They're abusive, especially emotionally and verbally. Listen to them talk. You'll hear the anger. You'll hear the bitterness. You'll hear there's no peace there. And honestly, that should break your heart. Because it breaks my heart. Because you can't help it. Put a wall up. Can't help it. Disobedient to parents. I like this one. Because it doesn't mean parent like mom and dad. It means authority. That's the word for it. You can go check all this at home if you want. I just pulled this right off the internet. Just put that word in. I'll send it to you. You look at the word, it's right there it is. You know what I'm saying? I cut and pasted it. Impersuadable. Not persuadable. Cannot be moved by persuasion. They are inflexible. There is no talking to them. There is no debating. There is no coming to an agreement. There is no truce. There is no we work our plan out together. No. You will do what they want when they want, and you will see Because if you don't see it, they are non-compliant, they are defiant, they are disobedient, rebellious, insubordinate, stubbornly or willfully resistant to authority. They have to win at all costs. They have to win. And the people that are, what did I do? What did I do? And you explain yourself. And you try to understand. You're a victim of something, all right? This is the spirit that has our churches and our people, our children, our friends. Ungrateful. That's the Greek word. It means wicked. They have a wicked heart. And what does wicked mean? Not grateful, it's not elegant, a lack of manners or consideration for others in how they speak and how they behave. Oh, but but they explain it away. That's just the way I am. Okay. When you're ungrateful and you have no mercy, no compassion, no empathy. It's unattractive, it's unpleasant. Entitled. When we talk about this generation, it's entitled. When older people, when wiser people say it, they see a spirit they don't recognize. This is not God. This is not right. There's something else there. It's all about you. Not giving respect, not giving pleasure, not giving satisfaction to others. I mean, you're going to deny them feeling good about themselves. You're going to tear them down. You ever had that happen? Yeah, people just won't give you the respect you've earned as a human being, let alone what you've done in their life. Judge Kavanaugh deserved our respect. If he did something wrong, bring the facts out. Bring the truth out. But when you ambushed him, when you attacked him, when you destroyed him, you signified your heart. You signified who has your heart. You signified you don't have a heart. Oh, what they did to Trump. They're incapable of building other people's up, except when it gets to what they want. They're focused only on what they gain out of a relationship. That's the scary thing. Unthankful. Next one is unholy. Unholy means sinful at the heart. The heart is not pure. When that spirit has a hole, no matter why it happened, it could be happening because people weren't loved, or people were destroyed, or people was abandoned, or it doesn't matter why it happened. It happened. But now we, you, the church, the nation, has to deal with what is happening. It's not pure. And when it's not pure, you can't work with it. You can't even talk to it. That's why sometimes you just can't say nothing. But take it. You get it? Because God's got to do it. Have you figured out we can't do nothing about this? In psychology? In therapy? Oh, a church can do something about it. It's called an empower session. It's called deliverance session. It's called, but that ain't never going to happen. I'll go in there in a minute. It's not pure. It's depraved. It's corrupted. That's the heart of the people attacking Kavanaugh and our president. It is what it is. It is what will attack you in your relationship, you and your marriage, in this church. Unloving. There's the Greek word. Without natural affection. This is why I'm saying something ain't wired right. This is the one love. Unloving means there is no natural affection. Where you would normally hug somebody and love something, they can't. Yeah. At least for a limited time they might be able to, but then it shows itself. Because there's something in that natural process that was stopped. This is the end times. In the last days, people will be lovers of themselves. And you got to step back. God, is it me? Am I really all those things? Judge Kavanaugh, did I really read these? No, when you know the truth, you stand on the truth. Now, the truth might mean you take it. Because I know some of us have been accused by family members, accused by people, accused by church, the pastor, the church. You've been accused of things that weren't real. But you got to deal with it. And you lost those relationships. Unsociable, unfriendly, distant, hostile, defensive, cold, standoffish. Are you seeing some of the people in your life that you didn't understand? Are you seeing them now? Yeah, your heads are noggin all everywhere. Every time I put one of these out. Inhumane, cold-hearted, vicious, brutal, heartless, cruel. You hear anybody just cruel? No empathy. Which means no compassion. If I had to put my dog down because he's got cancer and he's going to die, you know, you just dumb old dog, I'm just going to shoot you. Bang! No, what do you do to that dog? You got to put him down, but you love it. And you hurt over it. Well, people can put me down and not even blink an eye. They can put you down and not blink an eye. When that can happen with no compassion, what are you dealing with? When they can put Jesus down like that, make all the people oppose Jesus, turn against Jesus, no compassion. What spirit had them? The world's evil. Have you figured that out? And irreconcilable. The world that called me by this. Here we go. Unable to please. Some people, you give them everything they want, they're not happy anymore. You know that, right? They're still not happy, they're still not happy, they're still not happy. Because something ain't working right. Unable to compromise. Unbending, unyielding. Not capable of being appeased. Some people, you just can't appease them. You can't pacify them. They can't calm down. There's something inside that's broken. There's no working with them. They are unable to compromise. They're unable to come to a truce, and more than that, they're a truce breaker. Let them be triggered. Let you breathe the wrong way, look the wrong way, smell the wrong way, and they're triggered. And then they will attack. They will break that friendship, that bond, and they will destroy you. And there's no explaining it. There's no explaining it. I have asked God everything when God, am I that? Am I that? Show me myself. Show me myself. Show me myself. But if you're blind to this, you'll never see it unless the Holy Spirit opens it. Malicious gossip, the word comes from diabolical. Prone to slander, slanderous, falsely accused, to make false or malicious statements. You know, you just got to say something and everybody hears it. Like they come to you, you said it this morning, somebody come to you and says something about Steve, right? And you're like, no, no, no. It's tied to a person who, by observing their cause, by opposing the cause of God, may be said to act a part of the devil or to side with him. You'll get what that statue's saying?
Opposing God.
Not necessarily placing God, but because of how you're attacking, because of how you're acting, because of how you're speaking, because of your intent, people will look at you and go, you're the devil. And you may be saved. Because for all intents and purposes, you are the voice of the devil. When triggered, they become diabolical, without self-control. That's the Greek word. This is what it means: powerless to control, intemperate, uncontrolled, unrestrained, unbalanced, excessive, severe, hot-headed, unreasonable, self-indulgent. There's no talking to it. Brutal. That's the Greek word. Not tamed, not disciplined, not broken, not trained. What it means is it's like a wild stallion. It's out of control. And until you break it, until God breaks it, there is no peace. There is no gentleness. There is no self-control. There is no love. There is no mercy. There is no grace because it ain't being broken, which is why you can't deal with it until it's been broken. Savage, which means they're harsh, ferocious, cruel, ruthless, unrestrained, violent emotionally, fierce, intense, extreme, aggressive, haters of good. What? He's talking about Christians. If I was talking to Christians, the church, what? Haters of good? I'm like, God, what the heck, Paul, what are you saying? Without love for good, those who are good. I think, well, that didn't help me out much. I had to go a little deeper. They're opposed to goodness. They're opposed to goodness. Why would good people, why would you be opposed to the good? Well, here's why. Because narcissists, they don't have the good. And God's gives you peace. God gives you joy. God's blessed your ministry. God's blessed your life. God ain't done it for you. So you oppose what is good, and you oppose good men. You can do everything right. Judge Kavanaugh. What are you dealing with, Judge Kavanaugh? What are you dealing with, President Trump? You're dealing with this. A demonic force, a demonic spirit that has captured people in this nation. Now, a lot of the people that were protesting and stuff, well, they're just victims of listening to the wrong people. Because they have no discernment. No discernment. So they despise and they hate what is good. Those who are blessed, gifted, honored. They become an active opponent of God's kingdom. How can you divide a church? When you're broken and this spirit is on, you will divide the church. You will destroy the pastor. You will destroy the worship leader. You will destroy the person sitting over there. You will see. All you will see is faults. All you will do is they become an active opponent, enemy of God. In the name of God, they're an enemy of God. You get this? I don't know if you're going to get this preach anywhere else. Treacherous. That's the Greek word, betrayer. Rebel. They're a rebel. They're a defector. They're a deserter. You ever been looking around here? Where did they go? Where did they go? You were my support. You were who I trusted. And I can find. Where did you go? Why are you on the other side? What just happened? You ever been there? Traitor, double agent, a turncoat. Because in their heart, they're not for you. They're angry. They're broken. They're empty. There is no real love. It is easy to turn when those things aren't in place. When you don't process these things, and you'll say, I'm in the Spirit of God. You know any pastors I've heard say that when they've destroyed people? There's a difference in a pastor destroying people and a pastor speaking the truth. There's a difference in you speaking to your spouse, something to destroy them, or you speaking the truth. You got to know where you are with God. You got to know your heart and motive. By the way, you're the only person that knows your heart and motive, unless you're dealing with one of these. And these will tell you what your motive is. They'll tell you what your heart is. Because they accuse, and they destroy you. They'll abandon you. They'll show they have no problem with it. They have no problem with it. They'll take your wife and have no problem with it. So, recently, I was dealing with a person at the gym. This was last week. And a person came up and propositioned them for a relationship. And this is the hump guy at the gym. I mean, one of the girls golf cat. He's married. This girl is basically went through a divorce. Her ex-husband cheated 15 years. And she knew it, but she couldn't prove it. Then she could prove it. And this guy wants to come and give her everything she ever dreamed of. And I watched her blink. And I watched the fire guy come out of her, because this happened like Thursday morning. Man. It came out of her, the Spirit of God. You get behind me, Satan. You destroyed my life and my marriage and my husband. I will not destroy another marriage. I'm like, oh my goodness. I'm glad I've been having talks with this person. Because I know the heart. You get it? How can you destroy somebody and not have any emotion or no thought about what it's truly doing? Some of us, we're incapable of thinking like that because we would never do it. Well, that says something about your spirit, and it says something about their spirit. Does it mean they're evil? Don't know. Puffed up, conceited, vain, snug, superior, narcissistic, reckless, impulsive, rash, foolish, will erupt in a moment's notice, conceited, proud, puffed up, blinded by pride, they're blind physically and or mentally. They're blind as one possessed by a demon. That's the definition this one can see. They're blind as like they're blinded by a demon. They can't see the truth, but they will tell you can't see the truth. You don't know the truth. You're blind. And you're like, holy hell. Just because somebody tells you you're blind doesn't mean they got sight. You better know the truth. And you better know the Spirit of God when you're seeing it. And you better know the enemy when you see it. Or it will destroy you emotionally, mentally. That's why the accuser comes. They want to destroy what you are and what you have. And they're being used by the enemy to stop what God is doing in your life. Speaking the truth, building something, doing something for God, changing your life. Changing your life. Oh, they'll come. Judge Kavanaugh, I don't know how. Trump. They got to be a man of God. They endure what they've endured. Lovers of pleasure rather than lovers of God. I had a little struggle with this one too, a little bit. Lovers of pleasure. I mean, people like sex. That's not what he's talking about. That's not what he's talking about. Not at all. The pleasure they're talking about, I'm going to put you what I put up there. That's the word. And that's they're desperate to feel safe, I guess. This is not a physical, satisfying pleasure. They are so desperate to feel safe, to feel love. Okay? That they refuse healing, they refuse transformation, they refuse the peace of God, refuse the love of God, they trust everything they say they want, everything they say they need. They won't give it to God, they won't let go and let God have it. Alright? They want that pleasure of that moment. They feel safe. When everybody will pat you on the head. When the people will honor you. God wants to heal you. That's what it means. They're lovers of pleasure because they can feel good for that moment that they want, that they got out. Rather than lovers of God who will surrender to God.
That's right.
And submit to God. Which will give them everything they ever craved and never wanted. And it be real. It's just counterfeit pleasure. This isn't even real. But if you've ever, when I was sick those 5 years on that medicine, I could not feel peace, I could not feel love, I know how bad it can feel. So I'm not attacking those who live this way every day, because I know what it's like to not feel God, to not feel worthy, to not feel love, to not feel nothing but I don't know. They say hell is the absence of God. I think a true narcissist wants to look, they want it so bad, but they can't have it. So they crave, they live for that moment when they can feel it. It breaks my heart. This is the spirit that can do this to good people. Kavanaugh was a good man. How can you do this to him? Trump's a good man. How can you do this to him? They don't love God. They're in it for themselves. Having a form of godliness, though they have denied its power. That's the Greek word. They have not accepted healing, love, trust, faith, mercy, grace, forgiveness that God offers them, which is to say they deny its power. I believe in Jesus, but I have no power. I can sing it pretty, I can preach it pretty, I can say all the right things, but there's no power. There's a reason I ask us, guys, let's face things. Let's let things be healed. Let's get where God can use us. There's a reason we haven't opened the door, or the floodgates are coming, and we're ready or not, here they come. If we can't be the real thing and face it, we'll never lead them to the real thing. We'll lead them to an antichrist, an anti-love, a superficial love, a superficial relationship. Because we can't have the intimate relationship with God or with each other. And when we can't have that, and we don't have trust, and we don't have love, we don't have power, who are we as a church? Who are we as a Christian? We have a form of godliness, but we deny the power, because we want the power to heal us, change us, transform us. It's not real power. And this is what I love to say. Until it comes alive in you, it can't live through you. You can fake it all day long until you walk off stage, until you walk into your house and close the door. You're just like a person going, ah. You ever lived that? You ever done that? See, you don't have to be a narcissist to live some of these, the individual. It's just when you got all of these or most of these, there's sometimes to be worried. So many of us have been victims of this. And so many of us have been the one who caused the hurt. What you see isn't real. You know, you can fool everybody. There's one person you can't fool. You. Because you're going to go home. It's kind of easy to spot people like this in life. One, once you've seen it in their eyes, you know it, and you see it again. You see it in their person. The anger, the jealousy, the bitter. Why are they angry? Why are they bitter? Why are they jealous? Because they can't have it. They can't have it. And since they can't have it, they transform into Jezebel. Right? They transform into Leviathan. They transform into the wolf. And they attack. They undermine. They deceive. They divide. They destroy. Especially those who have what they want. They surround themselves with Ahabs that they can influence with their, to see what they see, to think what they think, to believe what they do, behave the way they desire. And the Ahabs will enable them to be the Jezebel. The Bible, that passage gave us, what do you do about this, Jeff? What do you do about this in your life? What do you do about this in the church? What do you do about this in the nation? No, it's pretty clear. The Word of God is you avoid, the New American Standard Bible, avoid such men as these. And NIV have nothing to do with such people. What? God? They're supposed to love people. I suppose you're supposed to to save one, just to save that one. No, there's boundaries that God says, and there's boundaries that you protect the flock. If you're a pastor, you protect your family. If you're the spiritual leader of your family, you're to protect your heart. You're to guard your heart, your mind. But God, you say these people aren't able to be healed? I mean, how do y'all justify that? Knowing the Word of God, how do you process that? Well, I'm going to tell you how psychologists process it, counselors, and Shelley was kind of jumping on it earlier. You can't help them. They say give up on and walk away. Run is what they say. That's the book. Run. For some of us, we're shepherds. We're going to fight. We're going to love anyway. We're going to let ourselves be abused anyway. Is there the exception to the rule? There's always the exception to the rule. And I choose to believe that. Until You cross a certain line. When you cross that certain line, now I got to be the pastor. Now I got to be the shepherd. Now relationships going to get, because, you know, what did it say? What did it say about an awakening? It's a revelation, the truth. There's an illumination when you, oh, now I got to do something about it. Then there's a separation. Not everybody's going to choose. Sometimes people tie your hands. When something calls you out of the Spirit of God, when something takes you out of God's will, when everybody is calling a pastor, going, Jeff, what's wrong? What's wrong? What's wrong? What's wrong? Jeff, what are they doing to you? What are they doing to you? See, it's just my imagination. No more. When the whole nation is going, Judge Kavanaugh, Judge Kavanaugh, Judge Kavanaugh. Well, it's not his imagination anymore. Can God do the impossible? I hope so, because I was impossible to reach. This spirit will devastate a nation. It will devastate a church. It will devastate your life. The Bible gives us a kind of a guidelines. There's one that says the fruits of the Spirit. I think I got that next. Fruits of the Spirit of love, joy, peace, forbearance, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control. These people ain't showed me none of them in months. They don't even speak. Who's got control of your heart? First I inward look, what have I done? What did I do? Where am I wrong? And eventually you just got to look at the fruit. More justification. 1 Peter 4:12, 1 Timothy 4:1-2. This very clearly says, in the latter days, the last days, some will abandon the faith and follow deceiving spirits and things taught by demons. Such teachings come through hypocritical liars whose consciences have been seared with a hot iron. Nor touch this. How can you do something with no conscience? How can you attack? How can you, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Here's the deal with the accuser. The accuser in our nation, the accuser Judge Kavanaugh, the president, and a lot of you have had this. The accuser. When you listen to the accuser, listen to what they accuse you of. Hypocritical liars. What is it saying? They're the ones guilty of that, not you. But you got to know what you're looking at. And if they come at you with all these people arming against you, huh? Yeah, they've been believing a narrative. They've been following the ads. They accuse you, but you don't love. But you just use them. You know, you're their God. You're their Jesus. Huh? What in the world is this? Yeah, you know what I'm talking to. No conscience. No empathy. Where does this condition come from? Somebody's been listening to the wrong voices. Deceiving voices. They will put it in your head. It'll get in your head. Once it gets in your head, it will control you. That's what Timothy's warning us about. That's what they did to Judge Kavanaugh. They accused him. They're the sexual. Wait till you see the indictments when they're released and what they did to children, what they did to people. Wait till you see that they were the gang rapists. They killed the children. They sacrificed them for blood. They are the Satan worshiper, not him. You think I'm kidding? It happens in the church. It happens in our lives. You're going to get accused by that because the accuser knows nothing but destruction. And why do they attack the truth? Because they can't have the truth. Why do they attack love? Because they can't have love. They can't feel love. Why do they attack peace, joy, respect, and honor in your life? And they will attack your life because they can't have it. And people have been crying this whole sermon, and people are wiping their faces, and I don't know what you're connecting with. like Judge Kavanaugh and myself, Judge Kavanaugh and President Trump, my character has been attacked. My heart has been attacked. My honor, my calling, my integrity, my family's been attacked. And I sit at a table while people pounded the table at me, thinking I'm the evil one, pounding the table. They go come across that table and want my butt. For what? You accuse me of having power over the women in this group? That I abuse the women in this group? Are you crazy? I was accused of being a pastor that we all know is a pastor that's bad. A pastor that manipulates people, uses people. You're just like him. What? I'm a control freak. I make you live in fear of me. Because if you don't give me what I want, then I will not be your friend and you'll walk out on me. You don't speak the truth. You don't speak the truth anymore, Jeff. You've changed. Jeff, you're in it for the money. You only want money. You're afraid people are going to leave. You're afraid people are going to walk out. You just tell them what they want to hear. Anybody ever tell y'all anything you wanted to hear? Some of y'all I've yelled at so many times. Oh, I'm drawing a line in the sand today because that's what God did in our nation. He drew a line in the sand, and sometimes people got to defend themselves. And people didn't like it when Judge Kavanaugh spoke up. Well, when you get falsely accused, you're going to speak. At some point, you're going to fight. No, that's not it. At some point, God's going to say, now's the time to speak. My military career. They told me my military career was just a bunch of junk and all the awards I got, I manipulated to get. That would be. Who are you to judge my military career? You didn't even know me then. Here's the deal. If they'll do it to me, if they'll do it to President Trump, if they'll do it to Judge Kavanaugh, you know what they'll do? You. I've been accused by an accusing spirit, and you play it cool, but you don't bow down to it. You don't give it power. You don't give it control. I have to walk into church and I can't say nothing. My authority was quote unquote taken from me. Go sit in the corner. And I don't know what to trust or believe anymore. Are you doing this 5 weeks to help me or for me? Well, you sure didn't do nothing about the problem. The accuser, just like Paul stated, is a hypocritical liar. They project their own heart, motive, character, intentions onto me, and it ain't changed. Are you freaking kidding me? Because when you're the Jezebel, when you're the spirit of Jezebel, when you're that accusing spirit, because a lot of people didn't accuse me of nothing, but they sure didn't put a stop to it. They sure didn't bring unity, healing. It was a power move, just like it was for Trump. They wanted it. It was a power move for Judge Kavanaugh. And what Lindsey Graham says, you want power, I pray to God you never get it. Everything with Jezebel is a power move. Now here's the deal. It's important to realize that there's another spirit at work than just that spirit that is. Again, what is God doing? There's one where God looks at Jeff and says, Jeff, expose the darkness. Because all around, people are getting in conversations and people have been told stuff. And I'm done with it. I didn't draw the line in the sand. I love you. I love you. But I will stand for what God has put into me. I will stand for what God has called out of me.
Yes.
And you ain't taking it. And that's what I said. You're not having my food. You're not having my power. You might think you got it, but you don't got it. And you'll run and hide when you got to face it. And you'll hide behind your Ahabs when it comes time to face it. It's funny how this plays out. Biblical, it plays out every time. Judge Kavanaugh's accuser, what did she say last night? Oh, I'm not going to follow up on you. Yeah, you're following up. They're coming after you. You're going to jail. You lied. You deceived. It was a power move. What is that other spirit? This is the spirit God's trying to build. He gave us a name for a reason. That spirit in the last days, God says, I'll pour out my spirit on the people. Your sons and daughters will prophesy. Your young men will see visions. Your old men will dream dreams. Who in here is better spiritually, probably better than you've ever been in your life right now? Found your purpose, found your calling, changed your life. Yeah, that's right. But I'm told, ain't nobody healing. You don't got answers. You don't know what you're doing. You should just give up. Are you freaking kidding me? Maybe in your circle, that's the truth. But again, hypocritical lives. Projection. I know you don't hear this sermon in churches. I know there's going to be repercussions of this. But when God says, calls you to be a truth seeker, you seek the truth. When He tells you to shut up, you shut up. When He tells you to speak, you speak. Anybody that I hang out with around here, we're in cahoots against people in here. What the heck is that? This is who we are. And when this is who we are, listen to me. There's going to be things that try to stop it. And you don't want to hurt people. You don't want to destroy people. But when you're the pastor, you're the shepherd. I'm not even doing this for me. You're not taking what God has given. He gave a name. He gave a name, fifth vision. We were created for this day, or what's happening right now. The go sign was what happened in 2016 and happened yesterday. This is who we are. We are to rebuild this nation. We are to rebuild the Christian community. How do you build this community when you're attacking it, Jeff? No. Sometimes you've got to level the playing field. I will have my power as pastor, and you won't control it. Nobody will. And if there's any one person in here that will tell me that I've used my authority, power, my presence in your life, you let me know. You let me know, and I'll bow down. But if you're going to accuse me of all these things, you don't even know me, because you don't know me. You must not know me. I didn't draw the line in the sand. Jesus did. We're not just some other church. We're a church that God's going to use. So we are the truth singers, and we are the truth speakers. And sometimes you got to stand up and speak the truth, even if nobody gets it but you. That's my sermon. That's my sermon. And it breaks my heart to have that done. I love y'all. And I love the Lord more. And a lot of people don't understand. They might be associated, don't understand what's really going on. And I get they might know what's really going on. I won't be controlled by a spirit of manipulation and deception. If we can be friends and love each other, fight for each other, hurt each other, we'll do that. If we can't, then we won't. But I will stand with God. I will stand on the vision and the calling God gave. And the vision is to be a revolution to transform church. If you're trying to take me back to what once was, you're trying to change our heart to what once was, if you want to go back to the legalism, you want to go back to the judgmental, we ain't going there. We ain't going there. We ain't going there. One day you'll either respect me or hate me. I love you. I will fight for you.